The library functions that we have learned so far were designed to have a single argument. For example, a predicate taking a single argument and testing the conditionality, or a consumer taking an argument and doing something with it, or perhaps function taking one argument and returning some result, and so on. What if we want to test a conditionality on two arguments? Take an example. Given an employee and manager, we wish to evaluate a condition, say, if the given manager is indeed employee's manager or not. In this situation, the predicate we have learned earlier can't be used because that function takes in only a single argument. But here we have two arguments, which are penciled in to be passed in as input arguments. So do we need to go and create a new function? Doesn't the Java functions library cater for such a requirement? Yes, fortunately Java's function library already supports this use case out of the box. It created a new collection of interfaces for satisfying such by-argument requirements. They are BiPredicate, BiConsumer, BiSupplier, and BiFunction. As the name suggests, they all work on two arguments passed in. In this video, we look at BiPredicates, predicates which work on two arguments and finding out the conditionality. The definition of BiPredicate is shown here. Is expecting two arguments is a generic function taking t and u as the two input types. We have a test method which returns the conditional boolean value back given a type t and type u. There are other methods as well, static and defaults on this interface defined, which we'll look at later. Now let's jump back to our example. Given an employee and a manager, we wish to evaluate a condition, say if the given manager is indeed employee's manager or not. The function to check the conditionality can be created using a brand new BiPredicate function. Let's import the BiPredicate and write the function. So given an employee and manager, we find out if the employee's manager is equal to the passed-in manager, and if it is so, that we know that the manager is indeed employee's manager, else we return the false. So as you can see, we have used a new function called BiPredicate, which takes in two input arguments. Testing this one is really simple. So we have created an employee and a manager. We are simply calling the method test BiPredicate, passing that employee and manager. So let's run this program and find out the result. As you can see, manager is the employees as expected. So don't forget to run through the Java doc for the function's detailed description. Similar to single argument predicates, chaining or composing of predicates to produce a complex lambda can also be done using BiPredicates as well. There are three default methods just like in predicate, a logical AND, logical OR, and negate methods. The logical AND simply short circuits the evaluation. Say we got another BiPredicate which checks the condition if the personal assistant of the given manager is indeed the passed-in employee too. I'm going to simply copy the code which I already have. So this is a manager has assistant predicate. This predicate is finding out if the employee provided is the same as the personal assistant of the manager itself. If we wish to combine these two functionalities and prepare a new predicate, we can use a default method defined on the BiPredicate, a logical AND. We use the AND method to produce the new functionality, given an employee, find out his manager, and check if the employee is manager's personal assistant too. So let's create an appropriate BiPredicate using the AND method, which is a default method defined on the BiPredicate. Following the same lines, it isn't rocket science to understand the logical OR method as well. So if we wish to find out the employee has a manager, or if the employee is peer to the manager, then we simply create BiPredicate using the logical OR method like this. We are trying to find out an employee if he has got a manager or if the employee is itself peer to the manager. Lastly, there is a negate default method defined on the interface. Invoking on the function's negates condition. So if we wish to negate the BiPredicate we have defined for employee manager predicate, that is, we wish to find out if given employee does not have the same manager we have passed in, we create a new BiPredicate simply by calling negate method on the employee manager predicate. So we use the negate functionality to say that the guy the employee passed in does not have the same manager. We will take a break here and come back to learn two argument consumers in our next session.